Becoming a veterinarian is one of the most loved jobs in the world. You spend your life caring for animals. People trust you with the creatures they love most. But there is a number behind that dream that almost nobody talks about. It takes around 8 years of school to get there. And the average new veterinarian in America now graduates owing about $174,000. The comforting version of this story says that vets earn a good six-figure salary, so it all works out. The honest version says something harder. They earn a good salary, and they owe roughly twice that much on the day they start. Start with the path because it is long. To become a vet, you first need a 4-year bachelor's degree, usually packed with science. That alone at a public university averages around $29,000 a year once you count tuition, fees, and living costs. Then comes the hard part. Veterinary school itself is another 4-year doctorate, the DVM. So you are looking at 8 years of higher education at the very least, before you ever practice on your own. And if you want to specialize in surgery, say, or cardiology, you add a low-paid internship year and then a residency of 3 or 4 more years on top. The animals are the easy part. The schooling is the marathon. Now the money. Veterinary school is expensive. The full 4-year cost of the DVM averages more than $200,000 for in-state students, and closer to $275,000 for those paying out-of-state rates. And most students borrow to do it. About 82% of new vets graduate with debt. If you look only at the ones who borrowed, leaving out the lucky few who paid their way, the average debt jumps to more than $212,000. 4 in 10 new vets owe over $200,000. And a small but real group, around 6%, walk across the stage owing more than $400,000 before they have earned a single paycheck. And here is what they do not tell you. The problem is not really the size of the debt. It is the size of the debt compared to the pay. A new veterinarian earns, on average, about $129,000 a year. That is a genuinely good salary, but set it against the debt, and you get what the profession calls the debt-to-income ratio. For new graduates, that ratio now sits at about 1.4 to 1. In plain terms, the average new vet owes about 1.4 times everything they will earn in their first entire year of work, before tax, before rent, before a cent of it is spent on living. That ratio is the real cost of the dream, and it is one of the heaviest of any profession in the country. Let us make that ratio concrete, because for some it is far worse than the average. Picture a new vet who borrowed the full amount, graduating with that $212,000 of debt. Now picture the interest quietly compounding on it year after year while they pay it down on a vet's salary. For the average graduate, it is a heavy but manageable load. But for about 14% of new vets, roughly 1 in 7, the debt is at least 2.5 times their starting salary. That is the level the profession itself flags as the danger zone, the point where the math stops working, where the loan payments start to crowd out a normal life. Same beloved job, same long years of study. Wildly different financial trap, depending on where you trained and what it cost. Now you might be thinking doctors have huge debts too, and they do. A vet who borrows graduates owing about $212,000. The average medical school graduate owes around $200,000. Borrower for borrower, it is essentially the same pile of debt. But here is the difference that matters. A physician, once they are established, often earns 2, 3, 4 times what a veterinarian makes. So the doctor's bigger debt sits on top of a far bigger income, and the ratio works out lighter. The vet earns a solid $125,000 or so as a median, and carries a debt almost as large as the doctor's. Same scale of borrowing, a fraction of the earning power to pay it back. That is why, dollar for dollar, the veterinary degree is one of the toughest financial bets in all of medicine. And this financial pressure is not just an abstract number on a spreadsheet. It takes a real toll. Research from the CDC has found that veterinarians die by suicide at notably higher rates than the general population. In their study, male veterinarians were about 2.1 times as likely, and female veterinarians about 3.5 times as likely to die by suicide as the general public. And the wider research points to financial strain as one of the stresses behind it. It is a sobering fact, and it belongs in any honest accounting of this career, treated with care. The work is deeply rewarding. The people who do it love it. But the weight they carry to get there and to stay there is heavier than the warm image of a vet with a puppy ever lets on. So what does it really cost to become a veterinarian? Not just the tuition. Around 8 years of your life, often well over $200,000 of borrowed money, and a starting career where you can owe more than you earn, sometimes by a punishing margin. But the real cost was never just the size of the debt. It was the debt set against the pay. The average new vet owes about 1.4 times an entire year's salary on the day they start, a ratio among the heaviest in any profession. For most graduates, it is a heavy but workable load on top of a job they would never trade for anything. For about 1 in 7, it is a genuine trap. The dream is real, and so is the love that drives people to it. It just arrives with a weight, the warm image of a vet, and a puppy never shows you, and that weight deserves to be talked about honestly. Next, we stay with the jobs whose price tag hides in plain sight. The 6-figure training bill and the years of low pay behind the airline dream. What it really costs to become a commercial pilot. Every figure you just saw is traced to a named source, listed in full in the description below.